Chapter 4, Trouble in Tilverton. The dawn of the new day found Gladiona and Lirio at the outskirts of a village that lay beyond the realms of Aloria, a place untouched by magical enlightenment and steeped in the old ways. Knowing the journey was not just about spreading the magic, but also about understanding the cultures they were to intertwine with, they approached with caution and respect. The village was a tapestry of rustic simplicity and agrarian life, where the folks had likely never seen magic practiced openly, let alone its transformative kind. The duo's arrival garnered curious stares, an unspoken mixture of intrigue and wariness in the villagers' eyes. With the universal sign of peace, Gladiona and Lirio introduced themselves, sharing their mission of enlightenment and transformation, offering new beginnings to those who sought them. Attempting a public demonstration, they selected a volunteer, a young woman yearning for courage and strength in a society that had rendered her voiceless. As Gladiona prepared the magical hairpin, a murmur of unease rustled through the crowd. The moment the hairpin touched the woman's hair, transforming her visage into one radiating the very essence of strength and confidence she desired, chaos ensued. Accusations of witchcraft and sorcery erupted, spearheaded by the village's elders, rooted in fear and misunderstanding. In the midst of escalating tensions, Gladiona and Lirio realized the gravity of their challenge. It wasn't merely about spreading magic, but also about breaking centuries-old chains of fear and superstition. With quick thinking, Gladiona used a distraction spell, a harmless but effective way to cover their escape, understanding that their presence had become a threat rather than a blessing to the village. As they retreated into the safety of the forest surrounding the village, they reflected on the harsh truth that change was as much about acceptance as it was about offering. Their journey had truly begun, with the path ahead promising not just realms of wonder, but also territories shadowed by fear and resistance. Yet their resolve remained unshaken, driven by the belief that understanding and compassion could bridge the gap between worlds. The events at the village served as a poignant reminder of their mission's complexity, preparing them for the challenges of introducing a new dawn in places shrouded in the darkness of old beliefs. With the learnings from this encounter, they plotted their course, choosing their next destination with a blend of hope and strategy, knowing that each step was a leap towards a world where magic did not inspire fear, but fostered freedom and understanding. Under the shawl of twilight, Gladiona and Lirio stood at the fringe of a forest, the next village dimly illuminated by the first lights of dawn on the horizon. Their spirits, though dampened by the earlier rebuff, flickered with an undying resolve. Lirio, whose wisdom was as far-reaching as the trails they trekked, suggested a more circumspect approach. Perchance, we demonstrate the transformation not upon ourselves, but upon a bloom, a spectacle far less dire, yet equally wondrous. Gladiona nodded, her heart alight with the prospect of a softer introduction to their magical harbinger. In the ensuing days, they ventured into communities scattered at the edges of myth and reality, each interaction a stepping stone towards acceptance. Their journey led them to a hamlet shadowed beneath the boughs of the elderwood, a place whispered in lore as a refuge for those touched by the mystical. Here, amidst a populace that danced with the edge of the arcane, Gladiona and Lirio unfurled the magic of the hairpin. With a gentle touch, Gladiona whispered to a withered rose, its petals embracing the hairpin's enchantment and blooming anew in a flourish of colors unseen. Gasps and murmurs wove through the gathered crowd, a tapestry of awe replacing the anticipated dread. An elder, garbed in the memories of countless moons, stepped forward, her eyes reflecting the depth of their deed. "You bring not witchcraft, but a rebirth of wonder," she proclaimed, her voice a bridge between the old fears and a new dawn. The acceptance in Elderwood marked a turning point for Gladiona and Lirio. No longer were they fugitives of misunderstanding, but heralds of transformation. With each village's embrace, their legend grew, intertwining with the fabric of the realms they visited. Yet as word of their deeds spread, so too did the attention of those who would seek to harness the hairpin's power for less noble ends. Shadows began to stir on the periphery of their journey, eyes aglow with greed and ambition. As Gladiona and Lirio pressed on, the weight of their mission grew heavier with the realization that not all desired transformation for the sake of freedom. In the whispers of the wind and the rustle of leaves, they sensed the impending trials that would test not just the strength of their magic, but of their hearts and bonds. Yet, undaunted, they moved forward, for they knew the true journey was not merely to change forms, but to transform the world. As Gladiona and Lirio set forth from the welcoming bounds of Elderwood, their path soon led them through lands less touched by understanding and tolerance. The tales of their previous successes journeyed ahead of them, carried on the whispers of both awe and disdain. Before long, the duo found themselves in the midst of realms where the mere mention of their quest drew shadows of greed and manipulation from the corners of society. In one particular village, their arrival was met not with curious wonder, but calculating eyes. A local power, a man of prominence and influence named Corvus, saw in the magical hairpin a means to solidify his grasp over the village and beyond. His courteous facade barely concealed his intentions, as he invited Gladiona and Lirio to demonstrate their magic at a grand assembly, promising them support and safety. However, as they prepared, whispers filled the air, sowing seeds of doubt among the villagers. Witchcraft, some muttered under their breath, while others spoke of unnatural changes. The atmosphere grew dense with suspicion and fear, a stark contrast to the open acceptance they had found in Elderwood. Despite the rising tension, Gladiona and Lirio proceeded, determined to share their gift of true self-realization. Yet, as the transformation took place, not all eyes saw wonder. Some saw opportunity. Corvus, with his hunger for control, saw a chance to manipulate fear into power, claiming the hairpin could be used to undo traditions and challenge the natural order. Outrage sparked into chaos, and the duo found themselves encircled, trapped by the very people they sought to liberate. But it was their faith in their mission, and in each other, that kindled a light in the grim situation. In a daring escape, facilitated by a clever distraction and the cover of night, they fled the village, leaving behind a storm of controversy. As they ventured into the wilderness, away from the torches and tumult, the challenges they faced grew clearer. The magic of the hairpin, so pure in intent, was a beacon to those seeking power for less noble designs. Gladiona and Lirio, bound by a shared destiny, realized the path ahead was fraught with trials far greater than the skepticism of the uninformed. It was the malice of the greedy that posed the greatest threat. Yet, with each challenge, their resolve deepened. They understood that their journey was not only about changing the bodies of those who longed for transformation, but also about transforming the hearts of a world ensnared in fear and prejudice. With each step forward, they wove together a tapestry of change, one in which every thread held the potential to alter the fabric of society itself. As the early morning mist embraced the edges of a dense forest, Gladiona and Lirio treaded softly, their hearts heavy yet determined. The encounter in the first village had left a colder shadow on their quest, unveiling the stark reality that their journey would be fraught with peril. But within the whispering woods, they found solace and a moment to breathe. Lirio, ever the observer, noticed a peculiar bird with feathers mirroring the twilight sky, watching them from a gnarled branch. "See, Gladiona," he pointed out, a slight smile touching his lips. "Not all eyes cast upon us bring malice." This simple moment of connection with the wild seemed to reaffirm their purpose. Continuing their journey, they sought paths less traveled, hoping to evade the grip of those like Corvus, who sought to harness the hairpin's magic for dominion rather than liberation. Their travels led them to hidden hamlets and secluded communities, where whispers of their deeds began to outpace their arrival, sowing a mix of hope and skepticism. In one such place, hidden among towering cliffs, they met Aina. She was a blacksmith renowned not just for the sturdiness of her swords, but for the open-heartedness she extended to all. Aina listened to their story by the firelight, her eyes reflecting the dance of the flames as she pondered their words. "The world is indeed in need of change," she mused, stoking the fire. "But change is like forging steel. It requires both heat and hammer to shape it." Inspired by her words, Gladiona and Lirio agreed to stay and learn what they could from her resilience and craft. Days turned to weeks, and under Anna's guidance, they not only honed their physical strengths, but also learned to forge alliances, to temper expectations with the reality of human fear and prejudice. They shared their mission with those who came seeking Anna's craft, carefully unveiling the magic of the hairpin to those whose hearts were open. Yet, as their circle of allies grew, so did the attention of those who lurked in the shadows, eyes filled with greed and minds plotting to seize the hairpin. Unbeknownst to Gladiona and Lirio, a figure watched them from afar, his intentions as dark as the night that enveloped the land. The chapter concludes with Gladiona and Lirio preparing to leave the cliffside village, their spirits bolstered by the friendships they'd forged and the lessons they'd learned. They understood now, more than ever, that their journey was not just about the magic of transformation, but about inspiring a deeper change across the realms. As Gladiona and Lirio descended from the cliffside village, their spirits were lifted by the crisp morning air that swirled around them, carrying the scent of pine and the distant salt of the sea. Despite the warnings of the journey that lay ahead, they felt ready, their resolve hardened like the cliffs they had left behind. The world seemed vast and wide, filled with endless possibilities and the promise of new alliances. The road to the next realm was veiled in a dense fog that seemed to whisper warnings with every step they took. It was here, in the shadowed forest that bordered the land of Eloria, where the dark figure's influence was said to spread like a creeping vine, unseen but ever present. Gladiona, with the magical hairpin secured in her hair, felt a twinge of unease for the first time since their journey began. Lirio noticed her friend's sudden silence and placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder, a silent promise of unwavering support. Their journey through the forest was uneventful until they reached the edge of Eloria. The change in the air was palpable, a heaviness that weighed on their shoulders like a cloak of despair. The people of Eloria, once known for their vibrant markets and joyous festivals, now walked with heads bowed, their eyes dull with fear and resignation. It was as if the very life had been drained from the realm. Gladiona and Lirio knew they had to tread carefully. Any outward display of magic could draw unwanted attention and place them in grave danger. Yet, they also knew that to pass by in silence was to abandon the hope they carried. Deciding to test the waters, they approached an old, wizened woman who was sitting alone, knitting by the roadside. Gladiona gently reached out, offering a smile. "Good day, my dear," she began, her voice soft but carrying in the still air. "We come in peace and bring with us a gift of transformation and hope. We seek to share it with those who desire it, to offer a chance at a life truer to their heart's desire." The woman looked up, her eyes widening with a mix of curiosity and fear. She glanced around nervously before whispering, "You must be careful here. The dark figure's spies are everywhere. Magic, especially of your kind, is forbidden and feared." As they spoke, a crowd began to gather, drawn by the mention of magic and the outsider's strange appearance. Murmurs of witchcraft and sorcery started to ripple through the onlookers, growing in volume and hostility. Gladiona and Lirio exchanged a glance, realizing too late that they had walked into a trap, not set by the people of Eloria, but by their own naivety. The situation escalated quickly. Angry shouts replaced hushed whispers, and before they could react, the crowd surged forward, a wave of fear-driven fury. Just as hands reached out to seize them, a blinding flash of light erupted from the hairpin, casting a protective barrier around Gladiona and Lirio. They seized the moment of stunned silence that followed to escape, their hearts racing as they fled the burgeoning mob. As they found shelter in the dense forest once more, they paused to catch their breath, the echoes of the angry crowd a stark reminder of the challenges they faced. "We must be more careful," Lirio gasped, leaning against a tree. "Our intentions are good, but not all are ready to see or accept the change we wish to bring." Gladiona nodded, a determined glint in her eye. "We will learn from this," she said. "Our journey is far from over, and I believe more than ever that our message is needed. We will find those who seek the freedom to be their true selves, no matter the obstacles. The magic of the hairpin is not just about transformation. It's about liberation, and we will carry it to every corner of this world." As night fell, they set up a small camp, the fire crackling softly in the darkness. They knew the road ahead would be fraught with more challenges, but the day's events had only bolstered their resolve. They were on a quest not just of personal fulfillment, but of universal change. And with each other's strength to lean on, they felt, more than ever, that it was a quest they could complete. As twilight draped its velvet shroud over the realm, Gladiona and Lirio unpacked their sparse belongings under the shelter of an ancient tree, its massive limbs stretching out like protective arms. The day's escape had left its mark upon them, not just through bruises and scrapes, but through the harsh realization of how their mission could be perceived by those entrenched in fear and misunderstanding. Lirio kindled a small fire, the dancing flames casting their faces in a flickering glow, highlighting the determination set in their eyes. "We must be more tactful," Gladiona mused, the warmth from the fire battling the chill that the evening air imposed. "Our approach was too direct, too confronting. Next time we should find allies first, those open to change or in need of the magic we offer." Lirio nodded, absently twirling a strand of her dark hair around her finger. "Yes, but how do we discern who is an ally from who might betray us to fanatics screaming of witchcraft?" "We listen," Gladiona answered simply. "Listen to their stories, their desires, and their fears. We've both felt the sting of not belonging, of yearning for something more. It's in those expressions of vulnerability that we'll find our kindred spirits." The night grew deeper, and their conversation flowed from strategy to shared memories of their own transformations, the initial fear replaced by an exhilarating freedom. They discussed the realms ahead, each with its unique customs and possible dangers. Despite the setbacks, their spirits were buoyed by the possibility of finding those individuals who, like them, sought transformation. As they settled into their makeshift bed, the stars overhead a testament to the vast world waiting for them, Lirio whispered, "Do you think we'll be accepted one day, not just tolerated?" Gladiona took her hand, a silent vow passing between them. "We will make it so. As long as we hold on to each other and to our quest, we will pave the way for acceptance." Sleep claimed them soon after, their dreams a tapestry of hope and a world transformed. When dawn broke, washing the world in hues of gold and pink, they rose with a renewed sense of purpose. They packed their belongings, dousing the cold ashes of their campfire, and set forth with the first light, hearts filled with the conviction that today would bring them closer to their goal. The road ahead would be long, winding through realms both welcoming and hostile, but they were ready. They had each other, and they had the magic of transformation, an offering of hope in a world fraught with division. The journey to the next village was uneventful, the paths empty, save for the occasional wildlife or distant traveler. They moved silently, each lost in their thoughts, rehearsing conversations and possible reactions. By midday, they had reached the outskirts of a small hamlet, its fields vibrant with the colors of harvest. Here they would try again, hoping the lessons learned from Eloria had made them wiser, more adept at navigating the delicate balance between fear and acceptance. The outskirts of the village felt calm, a soft breeze carrying the earthy scent of harvest. Gladiona glanced at Lirio, finding courage in her companion's optimistic gaze. Together, they held a silent promise to spread their magic with care, aware of the fine line they treaded between wonder and fear. As they entered the village, a sense of unease settled over Gladiona. The villagers eyed them with a mix of curiosity and suspicion, their gazes lingering on the unusual hairpin adorning Gladiona's hair. They murmured among themselves, stepping back as Gladiona and Lirio approached. Determined not to be swayed by the villagers' wary reception, Gladiona smiled warmly, extending a hand in greeting. "Good people, we come in peace," she began, her voice steady. "We bring with us a magic that has the power to transform lives, to grant those who wish a chance to live their truth." She touched the hairpin lightly, its glow a soft beacon in the dimming light. But her words seemed only to stoke the fires of mistrust. A man stepped forward, his expression hard. "Witchcraft," he spat, his accusation hanging heavy in the air. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd, their fear palpable. Lirio stepped in, her tone calm but firm. "This is no witchcraft. It's a gift," she asserted, though her words did little to quell the growing agitation. The situation escalated quickly, stones and harsh words thrown their way. Gladiona and Lirio realized the risk of their mission in this realm. Not all were ready or willing to understand the beauty of transformation. With heavy hearts, they turned away, fleeing into the encroaching night. Their hope to bring change met with closed minds and fear. In the safety of the woods, Gladiona and Lirio shared a moment of silence, reflecting on the encounter. Perhaps we must find another way to share our gift, Gladiona mused aloud, the night's events weighing heavily on her. A way that invites understanding rather than fear. Lirio nodded, her resolve undimmed. We will find allies, Gladiona. There are those out there who need our magic, who will embrace it. We just need to be patient and find them. As the first light of dawn broke through the trees, Gladiona and Lirio prepared to set out once more, their spirits buoyed by the belief in their mission. With each village, they learned, adapted, and grew stronger in their resolve to bring transformation to those who sought it. As they ventured forth, shadows of the previous day's rejection lingered, yet a new day promised uncharted potential. Gladiona's mind raced with strategies, her transformative journey embodying not just physical change, but a mission to alter perceptions, to unveil the spectrum of self beyond the mundane. She turned to Lirio, her steadfast companion, whose skepticism had softened into curiosity over their shared trials. Perhaps, Gladiona mused, we begin not with the spectacle of change, but with stories, tales of realms beyond, where identities flourish unbound. Lirio nodded, understanding the delicate balance between awe and fear. They approached the next village with a tempered zeal, cloaked not just in the fabrics of their journey, but in the humility of their learning. As they neared, they noticed the village's outskirts bustling with market day, a tapestry of colors and sounds, of lives intertwined in commerce and community. It was here, amid the throngs of villagers, that they saw their opening. Not a grand demonstration, but simple conversations. With each stall visited, each trinket admired, Gladiona shared fragments of their quest, tales woven subtly into exchanges, leaving seeds of wonder in their wake. Their careful words began to weave a different kind of magic, one of connection and empathy. Suspicion turned to intrigue among some, the stories of realms where change was embraced, sparking curiosity. They found an audience in a group of villagers who felt misplaced in their own skins, their eyes reflecting the hunger for acceptance and transformation. In whispered confidences, Gladiona revealed the magic of the hairpin, not as a tool of witchcraft, but as a key to unlocking one's true self. Yet acceptance was not unanimous. Whispers turned to murmurs, and murmurs to shouts. Accusations of witchcraft once again began to swell, fear overshadowing understanding. But this time, they were not alone. Among the crowd, voices of support rose, emboldened by the hope of what could be. A clash of ideals ignited, not violent but fierce in its passion. Gladiona and Lirio at the heart stood firm, their cause finding allies in unexpected places. As the day waned, it was clear that their journey was far from over. Each village a test of wills, a battle for understanding. But in this latest encounter, they had glimpsed something new. A flicker of change, of hearts and minds opening, however slightly, to the possibilities of self-discovery and acceptance. With renewed purpose, they pressed on, the path ahead fraught with challenges, but illuminated by the promise of transformation.